This is the smallest 8K capable drone in the world. Period. You literally cannot find another drone in the world that shoots 8K and is this small. It's actually so tiny that it's lighter than my iPhone. But the question is it actually any good? After spending a week or two testing out the hoverair X1 Pro Max, it's a lot better than you would think for the size. First of all, I'm sure you all want to know about the camera quality. Is it actually 8K? And the answer is mostly yes. It does shoot actual 8K video. This isn't some 4K upscaled to 8K gimmick. Now, there are a couple caveats to 8K. First of all, while the 8K is more detailed than the 4K, this isn't going to be the same kind of 8K quality as something like a RED cinema camera. And this is because the image sensor on a RED is over 12 times bigger than the sensor on the X1 Pro Max. But then again, that is somewhat to be expected given that a RED weighs about 10 times more than this entire drone. The second caveat is that when you're shooting in 8K with this drone, you can't use any of the HDR or log modes that are available in 4K. And this is a pretty big downside because you do get a lot better dynamic range in the 4K HDR mode compared to 8K. For relatively flat balanced lighting, 8K works fine, but as soon as you get into higher contrast scenes with very bright highlights and very dark shadows, it will start to struggle. But with all of that said, the camera quality is actually really good for this size of drone, and I was able to get lots of great shots with it when I took it up to the mountains to test. By the way, if you want to create cinematic professional videos with whatever drone you have, I have something that you won't want to miss. I've put together a completely free 45-minute drone filmmaking training where I teach my top 10 secrets to creating cinematic drone videos, covering everything from the best settings to use, how to get smooth dynamic movements, how to edit and color grade your drone shots, and a whole bunch more. Again, it's completely free and packed with value, so go check it out if you want to get better drone shots. Link is in the description. Now, the X1 Pro Max isn't your typical camera drone that you connect to a remote and fly several miles away. This drone is designed mostly as a selfie and follow me drone where you can just push a button on the drone and it will take off from your hand and automatically fly around you or follow you. It has about 15 different automated flight modes, including orbit, bird's eye, spiral, dolly zoom, zoom out, follow, sidetrack, dolly track, and cycling mode. These modes are cool and work really well, but they are only designed for filming yourself. If you want to film anything besides yourself, you'll need to connect the drone to your phone and use the virtual joysticks on the screen to fly it manually. And I found that this actually works surprisingly well. I'm not really a fan of flying with virtual joysticks on a phone because they're usually just not usable, but the implementation here is good enough that I was able to get some great shots just flying it from my phone. Now, one area that is extremely lacking on the X1 Pro Max is control range. When I was controlling it with my phone, I was only able to fly it about 150 feet away before I lost connection to the drone. There is an optional physical remote that gives you increased range and actually tactile control sticks, and it's rated at 0.6 miles max range, but the furthest I was able to go was around 900 feet before the signal cut out. So this is definitely not a long-range drone. It's great for selfie-style shots, but you're going to have to stick to filming things fairly close to you. And connecting the X1 Pro Max to either your phone or a remote lets you change all of the settings for automated flight modes as well as the manual control mode, including full manual camera settings like white balance, shutter speed, and ISO. Now, one thing that really stood out to me on this drone is subject tracking performance. I took this out on some mountain bike trails to test out the tracking, and I was pretty impressed with how well it could keep up with me even in fairly tight spaces at relatively high speeds. All in all, it's one of the best tracking drones that I've ever used. Another area where the tiny size of this drone comes back to bite it is its battery life. The X1 Pro Max is rated at 16 minutes of flight time per battery, but you literally never get the rated flight time on a drone with any drone. And with this drone, I got right at 13 minutes of flight time with the drone hovering in one spot. And while super long flight times don't matter quite as much if you aren't flying super long range, this is pretty short battery life, especially given that there are drones in this size class that are rated at nearly double the flight time. Now, one of the reasons that this drone has a shorter flight time is because it has fully enclosed propellers. Because there is a cage all the way around the props, this drone is a lot safer to fly around people. There aren't any exposed spinning props just waiting to slice into your skin, and it's also a lot more crash resistant, as you can see right here. The X1 Pro Max is made out of some kind of extremely tough, flexible plastic that is very hard to break. They actually include a sample of the material that it's made out of in the box for you to try to bend and break it, and I was surprised at how durable it was. This material makes the drone very flexible and springy, more so than I've seen in pretty much any other drone, and that makes it so you're very unlikely to break part of the drone in a crash. Now, the one weak point on this drone is the camera. I had one fairly bad crash where the drone hit a railing and fell down about 10 feet, and this did damage the gimbal, so it starts vibrating whenever I fly to one side. Now, I don't think that many other drones would have survived that crash, and I've had dozens of other crashes with this drone with no damage. So all in all, I'd say it's a pretty sturdy drone, but it's not completely unbreakable. Another cool feature, especially for cycling, action sports, etc., is the optional beacon. This is basically a tiny remote where you can preview the video from the drone and change all the camera and flight settings without having to connect to your phone. With an adapter, you can attach the beacon to a GoPro or 1/4" 20 mount, which lets you mount it just about anywhere you want to in a convenient spot where you can easily access it while biking, etc. There are also a couple of joysticks that clip onto this beacon to make the full remote. You just take and magnetically clip one onto one side like this, and then the other one onto the other side like this, and then you just pull it out, bend it down, and you have a full little joystick remote. Pretty cool design, I've got to admit. Now, getting your hands on the world's smallest 8K drone does come at a fairly steep price. You're going to pay $699 just for the basic kit with a drone and battery, or around $1,000 to get one of their combos with extra batteries, control beacon, etc. So is the world's smallest camera drone worth getting? Maybe. Definitely don't get this drone if you want to fly a long ways away for a long time. That's not really what it was designed for. But if you want a great selfie drone that flies itself with one of the best cameras on this style of drone, this drone could be totally worth getting and entirely worth the price. If you want to watch a more in-depth video on the hoverair X1 Pro Max, you can click right here. Or if you want to learn how to get better shots with whatever drone you have, you can click right here. As always, if you've enjoyed this video, make sure to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel to see more videos just like this.